Oh, I just got through wrangling with diesel laptops over the ag program that I bought. Now, for those of you out there that love your diesel laptops, I'm not speaking to you. You know why? Because the vast majority of you are using diesel laptops with trucks. And occasionally you might use it on something else. Trucks and industrial engines, the system seemed to work out okay. What was the name? Texa. I used Texas system before, and it worked quite well. But that was years ago. I thought, this is an upgrade. They said, no, we sell Kojali. It's even better than Texa. Oh, it was until halfway through the subscription upgrade the next year. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, Kojali sends me a thing that says, well, you've been using such and such a program. And I was thinking, yeah, because it's included in it. Well, guess what? We want money now, or you can't use that search function. So I went to Diesel Laptop side. They had a code search function that seemed to work with some of the industrial and construction stuff and farm equipment. And I thought, cool, well, that worked for a while. Then suddenly I got a bill sent. If you want to continue using this program, you need to pay up. So I went to look to pay up. They wanted about $3,000 as well. You say, well, yeah, but you got to, no. I dropped 10 grand as it was. The kit, the initial ag kit, which only had 2 plugs in it. 2. That's it, 2. No more. 9-pin, that's all you had to use. And I think a 5-pin adapter, or is that 6? I can't remember. It's the old style. It's 1708 and 1535, I think it is. The old school stuff. So that's it. That's all you had. Well, that's truck stuff. But that's what came with the ag kit. The only thing they changed was the software. Just whittled it down to ag only. Well, that's funny. So I start using the computer and I touch the pad and the cursor goes. Whoosh. It's not a touch screen. It's an old Panasonic Rugged. They could have done better with a tablet, let me tell you. There was nothing in it. There's no camera. There's no mic. There's barely any sound out of the thing. So it's worthless for that. No disk drive. I mean, as in DVD, CD drive. Nothing. Okay. Barely has a modem in it. Yeah, it's a rugged thing, but, you expect things to work better than that? Anyway, if you get away from the computer, the Kojali side there, it worked, generally worked okay, plugged in, but there was some stuff I wasn't getting, and I thought, I've got a computer in this John Deere tractor, I think it was a 6415, and I have a computer in this tractor, a DE10 pump on the engine. Well, that's run by the computer. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know what this computer read on that thing? Goose egg. It read the stuff on the tractor controllers. Goose egg on the engine. A simple DE10. Nothing. Not a thing. So I tried calling, and he says, well, you got to connect to it. I said, what do you mean? Well, you have to connect to it to go through. Well, wait a minute. I'm calling for information, not for you to do my troubleshooting. I'm telling you the problem I have. Is that normal? All I want to know is this normal or not? I don't know unless I can connect to it. I said, well, you don't have enough Wi-Fi here. I don't have enough cell service to hook on through a hotspot. So what do you want to do now? He says, I don't know. You're going to have to get tractor someplace where you can connect it. That's the best you can do for me. I just need to know one simple piece of information. Is this thing supposed to read running data and codes with a DE10 pump on a John Deere 4045 engine in a John Deere tractor? An ag John Deere tractor when I'm connected with ag programming. Well, if you're a tech guy, you should be able to just no, it's not available. But you see, by the time I called there, I think I was on my second or third tech call, and on my second or third tech on the other end of the call. Now, this is all in the first year, and I'm toward the end of the year debating on whether I'm going to connect or not. Well, I connected on another tractor or two, and it worked reasonable, but not well enough to get excited about. So I started picking up service manuals. Well, within the service manuals on PDF, you can pick up a manual for about $50, sometimes more, but right around 50, give or take a few. And then the codes are in there with the troubleshooting and the wiring schematics. If you get the OEM stuff. Yeah. And if you get the generic code out of there, which 3/4 of the codes in almost all tractors, if you can access them, it's generic anyway. On Deere, it's generic. End of story. And on most Deere, I can pull up the code with any one of 3 units. 3 separate reader units. 2 Bosch, an old HD reader only. It's all it'll read is codes, but it'll tell you how many controllers are on there and if they have codes in them. And it'll tell you which controller has the code. But it's a generic controller name in the tractor. Deere has a different designation for it. So even when I could go into the Diesel Laptop's code program, where you could enter the code and yada, 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 and have it come up on the screen and troubleshooting, now Diesel Laptops, after a few months, wanted 3. We're talking within like the end of the first year, or partway through the first year, and I didn't see it then. But the second year, I found it. They want you to pay $3,000, if I remember correctly, for the privilege of accessing the information you think you just paid for. New subscription. All of a sudden, I can't get in and get to the codes. The guy says, well, you should be able to. No problem. Nope, can't get there. Well, gee, I can't either. I don't know what to tell you. 6 months later, I call again to different tech. He said, well, yeah, your subscription ran out. No, it didn't. I still got... No, your subscription to that programming ran... Wait a minute. It all came loaded. It didn't say I had to have another subscription. No, it's kind of a freebie, and then later on we charge you for it. If I'd have known that, he says, well, that's why we don't tell you. I would have told you where you could have put the whole package right up your wazoo. So if you think Diesel Laptops, A, has reasonable techs, no, they don't. They have people they hire that can handle a computer. They tell you they're Diesel techs, but when it comes to ag programming, worthless. Mm-hmm. Well, if I got a Cummins in my... No. Your CDC Cummins engine is software program by CNHI, Case New Holland Industry. Just like Dodge, you got a Cummins engine, but that's a Dodge system and controller. Oh, it may have elements of Cummins on it, but that's a Dodge system in the final end result. Mm-hmm. Now, when it comes to the after-treatment systems, when you're talking the SCR, Supplemental Catalyst Reduction System, which the only thing they're reducing is attempting to reduce NOx emissions and sending ammonia into the atmosphere. What a jackass exchange. We're stopping acid rain. And you're sending what you people claim is the worst greenhouse and also corrosive greenhouse gas in the world, and ammonia. No. It's 32.5% urea when it hits that hot air in the exhaust stream, and its constituents, that urea, turns into ammonia. So it can turn NO and NO2 into NHO3 and supposedly make it more benign. Please. So there might be some difference with it, but still, I'm here to tell you they can use different after-treatment systems on those engines. Doesn't have to be only Cummins or only Bosch or only... If they meet emissions, nobody cares. Oh, yeah. So there I was with programming that I pulled out of... You guys have seen it before if you go into some of my other videos. I got a Bosch HD reader. That's it. Heavy-duty reader. An old one. And all it did was read codes. It had the gray 9-pin and a gray 6-pin. plug it in, and it would read codes that this thing couldn't read. The diesel laptops. Before I updated the programming, I had about $8,000 invested in that thing. $8,000 of my retirement money. I was hoping to do diagnostics and make a buck on. Nope. Oh, don't get me wrong. The few times I've used it, I think I got paid for the use of it once. You say, well, you need to get paid. No, people need to know what's out there and see how it operates. And the only way I thought that I was able to get a brownie point is I carry a printer so that I was hoping to go out, do the diagnostics, read the code, download the information that the farmer needs, and then he could go check it out the rest of the way himself. But he didn't need to have the computer. He didn't need to have all the fancy stuff that goes with it. I could print out the troubleshooting for him, what he needed to do, and he could handle his own repair from that point on. And if there was a problem afterwards, we could reconnect and go from there. Or if they just wanted somebody to connect to it and clear the code, right? On Deer, it's semi-irrelevant because all it does is move the code into a different level that Deer can still read for their history. And the sad part of it is some of the guys that own the Deer programming there, diagnostics programming, what do they call theirs? Service advisor. And the techs that are running around with a service advisor, they don't have access to the Deer factory level. That actually has an entire lifeline of what's been going on with that machine. Codes, connections, who's connected to it, or at least what type of connection it was, and the date and time. Oh, yeah. So some of the farmers are even scared to use it because, what's Deer going to think? Oh, Deer's going to think somebody connected to it and they've got competition. But that's not what farmers think. They're hear about what's going on in Nebraska for lawsuits. Sadly, what happened out in Nebraska is only 75% correct. You say, well, that's enough. It is, but excuse me. The Nebraskans want the deep programming that only Deer techs barely have available to them, and to be able to change their SCR programs and defeat them if they want to. That's unspoken in the interviews that I've seen. They want full access to the Deer programming, and Deer says, no, you don't even own your tractor. You lease it. Well, the only thing they should be leasing is the software in that controller. Capiche there, Deer? And for the rest of you out there as well. You say, well, what do you know? So what I do know about it is I've been out and read, I think, 4 Deer tractors now and 2 generators without this system. The generators, I used a generic Nexic Blue. Nexic Blue Mini, actually, is what it's called. But it's in the Nexic Blue system. You put an app on your phone, plug the thing in, it goes through the Bluetooth, and it'll send you codes. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but it does work. It can pull out some useful information usually. If nothing else, it'll tell you if the MIL is on, malfunction indicator light. And it might tell you what color light's supposed to be gleaming in your eye. But it works. It was like $250 or less. And I think I got it's right around $250. It'll pair the thing with your phone, plug the thing, you have to plug it into something to power it, pair it to your phone, and then you've got it. But if you can get a list of the running data is available to it, generic monitoring data, the thing's got a monster list. And it'll fill in the blanks with what information that the machine controller will give up. So in a lot of ways, and I can email a report to the owner. Yeah. Sit right there. There you go. Yeah. It's a beautiful little thing that way. But it's not very powerful as far as pulling out a lot of codes. But it does quite well. It's probably 3/4, 75% good. The Bosch units they're aiming near 90. It's more money, I think. But the last unit I paid for with Bosch is both monitoring and code reading. And it goes deep. If there's any controllers on the machine, it'll tell you if there's any generic codes in there, any generic active codes in there, and if it's connected to them as well. Oh, yeah. It'll bring the name of them right up on the screen. Which, if you had the code, equipment code, fault code system that diesel laptops have would give you a fighting chance of being able to do something with it. If they had that equipment fault code reader on the tablet or my phone, and I had that code reader there, I might pay $1,000 for that availability. With troubleshooting, maybe $1,500. It's not worth any more than that. Especially to farmers that they might buy a code reader someplace else and want the information to be able to troubleshoot it. You could sell that at relatively inexpensive program to thousands of customers, but they're a little narrow-minded about they don't want to give up their software either. Cooperation just doesn't work. What was it? Guilty of treason. What's his name? Zach? I can't remember. But anyway, he sat there and mentioned something. He said, when it comes to the tree surgeons and woodcutters out there, loggers and such, he says, the young kids tend to work together more than the older. Perfect example. Perfect example. Everybody wants to be proprietary and this and that, and they don't want to work. And he's out there working with guys from even overseas, and guys are calling him to come over and cut with them just to play around. And they're paying each other. Maybe not 100%, but yeah. So think about it. And the amount of cooperation we've got here with diesel laptops, and oh, you say, well, why didn't you call Kojali? I did. You know what they said? Oh, you bought it through diesel laptops? Can't help you. Click. That's what they told me at Kojali. Kojali Gel Test. They will not help you at all. I said, whoa, wait a minute. Just one question. No, click. So you don't even have any access to that. Well, Kojali told me that it was running out, and they wanted to know why I wasn't signing up. My prescription, yes, it felt like a prescription. Subscription again. Relicense the thing. And I sent back to him, I said, no. Because when I called you for service, you told me to go to Diesel Laptops because I bought it there. But I'm using the Kojali program. I need your help, not theirs. Well, we can't help you. Well, Diesel Laptops, I told them, can't help me either because they've had, at that time, 3 different people, and that's why I'm calling you. And none of the 3 has any idea how the base program works. Well, that's because they put their... No. I'm talking direct gel test by Kojali program, not anything else. He says, well, it doesn't matter. That's Diesel Laptop's problem, not ours. So where did that put me? In the end result, that put me, by the time I got through all the stuff that I've had for the diagnostics and such, about $11,000 in debt to be able to read a code or two now and then. And I could have done almost all of it for, even if I'd have bought the Diesel Laptops equipment fault code program thing, and if it was set up properly, I could have kept it at about $1,000 to do the same work. Don't know what to tell you. So any of you that are looking for the Diesel Laptops, if you're going ag only, don't. Whatever you do, you have to go into the total off-road and on-road altogether. You're talking $15,000. And then the problem is now you still have to sign up for all this other programming when the subscription that has run out that they didn't tell you that it had. So by the time you're done, you'll be into $20,000 when Kojali gets through with you. The 2 extra programs that they put on here, the equipment fault code and their own truck, what do they call it? Diagnostic, I can't remember what it was, their program. So you've got Kojali in there, truck, Kojali off-road. You have to buy the connectors to operate some of the stuff. So you're done with Kojali on that. Now you've got, Kojali wants to charge you for the diagnostics and troubleshooting side after you get the code. Diesel Laptops want to charge you for their fault code search and their truck program of their own. It's just supposed to be a quick connect generic thing. It's a nice code reader little thing when it works, but... So by the time you get through paying for all of this crap, what good is it? Seriously. Why? Well, Kajali wanted about 3,000 for their further diagnostics that I already had for a year and a half. Diesel Laptops wanted pretty close to $3,000 for theirs. And I can't remember what the the truck code reader thing was. That was another subscription. What do you do with that? Seriously. Oh, yeah, it'll bring up the code for you. But now you have to go into the fault code reader to get it. Well, you got to have a subscription to that, a license. Yeah. If I'd have done it all at first with all the different charges, it would have been 3, 6, 7, 13,000 there, plus the extra adapter kit, which was right around 2. So it would have been $18,000. What do you do with that? They try and suck you up to that $20,000 mark for stuff that doesn't work. It doesn't work. Well, buy this, it'll work. You go to buy that. Well, now you got to buy this to make it work better, and you can buy theirs and ours. Well, that's 6,000. Just you walk onto the Snap-on truck or the Mack truck. Don't bother with a Matco truck when it comes to ag and off-road. Just don't even go on the truck. It's not worth it. They have nothing. Okay? They have a heavy equipment, and it's for trucks and maybe some industrial engines. They've already told me that for years. So in the end result, you walk on the Mack or the Snap-on truck and buy something that'll do a lot better, and Mack doesn't even hardly realize what they have, I don't think. And they have one that I didn't purchase that will run the SCR systems for a clean out and the DPF service cookout. So if I bought both units, the Bosch that I like and the funky, I think it was a launch Chinese unit. The Bosch was made in Mexico, which is what made me go for it. But the other unit, they had the service thing for the DPF system, service regen. And I think it was also a service regen or a service efficiency test for the SCR system. Then the efficiency test also was a clean out. And I think I had both of those in that thing for just about another $100, $150 more. So between the two, I would have had someplace in the neighborhood of $1,400. Why would you buy two? Because one can reliably run the systems or program, and the other one is Bosch. Now, Bosch, when I had the HD code reader, I called the German, laughed at me, and says, "Ach, you never update that." So what do you mean? Every code imaginable to man is already in. We made sure of it, and codes that aren't even there yet are there. So what does that mean? He says, it means you're good. Anything else I can help you with? No. Have a nice day, bank. Typical German. I had to laugh when I got off. Okay. So I went to Mac because he told me to originally go to Mac. Go the updating through Mac. And Mac says, nothing available. They don't plan on it. In fact, it's obsolete already. Excuse me, you got to buy the new one. No, what's the new one? He says, same thing, only different. And the next unit that actually gives me monitoring data out of it was almost the same money as the unit I bought 10 years ago just to read codes. So anyway, it's coming up on 25 minutes. I wasted a lot of time here and a lot of breath so that you would know that when it comes to the diesel laptops, just if it's not for trucks, don't bother. Seriously, don't bother. For anything off-road, you need to go OEM or you get the Bosch code, the code scanner from Bosch. Or you could go for that launch program that Mac has. Either one of those this will do 3/4, if not more, than what this will. And no, you're not going to be able to calibrate your turbo. You're not going to be able to calibrate your little what do they call it? IFV valves for the Cummins. That's automatic anyway. But your injectors, no, you're not going to be able to calibrate any of those. But the amount of cost that you'll have will be far less. For your average work, it's covered by 90-some% of it. Now, if you're a farmer and you want to buy this program and you're willing to drop all that money and just spend the initial, then you'll have to spend for the fault code, and you'll be able to trouble there is every every year $2,000 to $3,000 to up the program again. So you need several tractors to make this thing pay off, and you might want to wait and buy the code reader first to do your general servicing. And when it comes time to replace an injector or turbo or something else, either find somebody like me that has the programming so that you can calibrate it. Excuse me. Or now you can purchase it for $7,000-8,000 and you don't need all the connectors. Because down here, we got Kubota, John Deere, Yanmar, which I found out Yanmar, even the ag tractors, is not in the ag program. Yeah! Got the Ford, New Holland, and some of the others, and that's the only place that this laptop may actually come out is in the Ford, New Holland machines and the Case IH, because they tend to be pretty narrow-minded about who hooks up to their what. So I'd like to find a Case IH sometime with that green connector that's supposed to be a higher baud rate, faster communication rate, and a slightly different language, and see how well that works. Because if I can pull up what I think I can with a Bosch unit, yeah, it's one of those things where, yeah, for a couple $1,000, call your dealer in. You say $1,000? Yeah, your local dealer, if you're close enough, can drive in, do your recalibration, and send everything on and be back on the road and back to the shop. But you're talking $500 to $1,000 for that truck just to leave the shop. And I'm not disparaging anybody in between. That's pretty common. We used to say, and we're talking almost 20 years ago now, and as soon as I left the building at Anderson Equipment, when by the time I left in 2017, it was up to about $700 or $800. That truck left the barn till it got to the job site and turned around and came back without even doing any work. You knew $350 was minimum local. But outside of Broome County and part of Tioga County, pretty much outside of Broome County, yeah, over $500 towards $1,000 just for the truck to go out there, turn around, and come back. So you have to put that into consideration too. If you got some of these guys local in the ag shop, sometimes they don't give you all the extra charges for the truck to show up there, the mileage and all of that crap. So that depends. I know there's some truck. When I was at Empire Tractor, I can tell you they charged you the mileage, the truck charges, all of that. And you'd had a truck that could barely make it over 50 miles an hour, rumbling, stumbling, flopping in the breeze to get there. It was not worth the money. No, because nobody had their own truck. One guy didn't even have his own truck, and he was supposed to. Tools in and out. It was bizarre. So anyway, that's just to give you an idea of what's going on with this stuff. I will not be signing up again with diesel laptops under any stretch of the imagination. If you say Diesel Queen has hers and she loves it, two things. One of them is she's working on trucks, which is the original diesel laptop's intent when they got into business, and the guys there know trucks, and that's it. They know jack about anything else that I can find out. And we're talking since 2018, 2019, when I got into the Texas side, and I've had this for the last 2 years. Actually, 2.5 years on the Kojali system. So I've got some pretty varied experiences, but I'm not hooked up with the trucks or the off-road industrial side. Diesel laptops, or the Diesel Queen has the diesel trucks end of it, and that's its primary design. So she will say good things about it because on her end, it's probably working just fine. I'm not going to deny that. If she has to call in for service, most of the guys that are down there for any backup services are already out of the truck's world. So she's going to have better backup there as well. She will say good things about it for good reason. For her, that's the design. I tried just the ag programming, and it is not. It just isn't. And there's some things in ag that are not available on here unless you buy the total off-road package. Why? Dropped $8,000 to start this all out with, and this is what I end up with? And there's a lot of stuff the diesel laptops is screwing up in between. So what I would recommend is you go online, and go to the company called Kojali. They're out of Florida. Kojali. Kojali. What is it? No, Kojali. Kojali. JAL test. JAL test. Go to them direct. Avoid diesel laptops for off road and for ag. Just stay away from diesel laptops until they get their act together. Because if I call on a John Deere engine, a 4045, then we're talking one of the largest used industrial engines other than a 4BT Cummins, okay? All over the world. Everywhere. I mean, the things are insane where they are. Or the little bitty 1004 Perkins, okay? Those are the three most popular four bangers everywhere. So the 4045 is out there like water. It has a DE10 pump, electronically controlled. Two little doodads. Pulse width modulated signal runs the pump. That's simple. And they couldn't tell me what codes, running data, or anything else was available in it. And that DE10 pump was in the John Deere construction and industrial engines as well, not just the John Deere tractor. How do I know? This boy's seen them and worked with them. So I was calling and talking without realizing it. They're big, we've got tech backup for you. This boy knew more than they did. To find one code in a John Deere program, I had to go through 33 individual computers, designations, in the fault code. In the equipment fault code list for John Deere. Because it wouldn't go, I couldn't just enter the code and have it tell me which controller it was in. It would come up blank. And then I took a list of the controllers, and the only controllers that it would be in that made sense, I went through them. 33 of them. 33, which meant I didn't go through all of them. There were 50-something separate controller designations listed before I could access the code in its definition. And that wasn't even to get any troubleshooting. Why? So if you're off-road and ag, don't even bother with diesel laptops. Don't bother paying money for their fault code system, period. It is not that good. If they gave you just the fault code reader on the computer or your tablet or phone, just the reader where it would give you the definitions, anything else other than Deere Ag, you're probably going to be okay. But once you get to a certain level of Deere agriculture, before this level, there's not much information, period. After this level, you have to jackass yourself around like a Barnum and Bailey clown to find out the information you're looking for. And if you call them to ask why, they'll tell you, the jackass told me 6 times what I told him. And finally, I just hung up on him. I said, "You're repeating me like a parrot." "Well, yeah, but you keep asking." "No, you keep telling me something new, and then probably it's this, and you don't shut up long enough for me to say, I already know it. You have a nice day." So there is no backup for ag or construction. Don't bother to ask, unless there's a common engine in on-road trucks. That's it. So you folks have a good day. I'm going to go out and think about cutting some Brussels sprouts down. We have some that have been frosted a couple times, and they're pretty well due to come in. And the last batch of Brussels, we had Brussels sprouts, steam them. Don't cook them any other method. Steam them. Debbie got one of those steam baskets, put it in a regular pot, put water in the bottom, steam the buggers until not just the heads, but the stems of the heads were soft. "Well, cut the stems off," you're going to be told. Well, don't. Leave the stem right on there. Cook them until that stem is soft enough to be edible. You will enjoy the stem too. They're great. So there you are. That's me at noon. Time to get out and get back to work. Done enough complaining. No, just in case, I'll let you know this is something else that a lot of people don't know and wouldn't know because they haven't been through this yet. Here we are. Panasonic. This is the Rugged Duty, right? Okay, I'll show you this end of it. There it is. Supposedly water resistant. got the side covers for all your outlets, right? That nice? And you say, well, at least you got that. It's worth it. And the answer to that is when there's no microphone, there's no CD, DVD recorder in there. You have to go buy your little thumb drives. So I can't go on there and do a live or anything with YouTube except call up YouTube and play it. So if I was out on the road and wanted to talk to you with that computer, I can't do it. And the sound on it, volume is terrible, so there's no sense in having the speakers in there because they're so deep and internally can't hear it. The mouse pad has not worked right. This 2 diesel laptops in a row that I've used doesn't work right on either one. Same thing. You touch the pad and start to move the cursor and the sucker jumps. And it may or may not end up where you want it. And then often it'll change the entire screen on you if you're not careful. You can't just advance things with that cursor like you're used to with anything else. So that's worthless. I say, well, just go out. Why do I have to add something to it? I paid $7,000 initially. Why do I have to fight with a computer? Well, they refurbish. I don't want excuses. I want it to operate the way it's supposed to. And all I got told by only one of the service techs and none of the others had any further information was, yeah, they all do that when they get done with it. I want it fixed. We can't fix it. Yeah. So, is it rugged enough? Yeah. But if it was me, I'll tell you what I would do. For the 2 truck segments, their code, diesel laptops code for heavy duty, and the equipment fault codes or the fault code search. If you bought one of these, because these are available for about $500 off Amazon refurbished, similar to this, I would recommend you buy one of those. I've seen them as cheap as $360, $350, just in the last couple of years. You say it's refurbished, yeah, and this is refurbished crap too. So at best, I got a $500 computer and a $7,000 outfit. Yeah. And if I can't use the diagnostics on this thing, I also have another $2,000 in adapters in there for other ag programs, diagnostics, that you can't use on anything else but Gojali. Because it's their box that it connects to, and then by USB into the computer. Yeah. Get it. I would recommend this, a Samsung tablet, in an OtterBox. A water-resistant OtterBox, because you're going to spill coffee. I haven't on this yet, and you need it in an OtterBox because I have about 20 cracks in the screen from dropping it on the floor. In a box, like a notebook box. Yeah, no. So anyway, why do I recommend it if it's that fragile? I recommend it because the thing works, and it works well. In an OtterBox, it should be safe. Yes, you can get one of the other rugged ones, but the problem I've seen with the rugged tablets is one major problem, is you have to plug the suckers in. They have big batteries, and it's a big charger, but what's the point if you can't use a USB to charge it? Yeah, now you got to have a separate charger, I want to charge my tablet, okay, man? But some of them, I think they have like a 14 or 18-hour service life on the battery fully charged. That's something to think about if you're doing this continuously. If you're a service writer in a truck shop, that would work great. Go out there, put in your work orders, and plug into the truck, enter all the information on the thing. Oh, that'd be sweet. So if you're a service writer, I'd tell you, go out there for one of those and don't even bother with this crap. Don't even. And then if you got that little Nexic, it has 2 of those code readers. One of them is double-ended. It has the J19, I think for cars, it's 1962, but it's got that funky trapezoidal thing. And on the other side is the 9-pin. And that hooks similar to my Blue Mini, hooks Bluetooth, and it'll go right to your tablet. So you plug the thing in, you're putting in information, you're writing up the work order, your diagnostics is on the bugger. I mean, if you're in a truck yard, I wouldn't even waste time on this thing. Especially if You can much more inexpensively buy the diesel laptop program to put on here to do some of the reading, which I don't think it'll work well anyway, but it might. But the fault code deal, if you can pull up the fault code and the troubleshooting that's behind it on the road trucks that they supposedly have all supplied, you don't even bother with this Panasonic. Okay? Don't even waste your time. The battery life, unless you use this thing several times a week, is horrible. You'll fire it up and a couple hours later, it's starting to do. And if you use it several times a week, and I mean run the thing right on down into 20% or less, and then bring it back up, you do that 2 or 3 times after it's been sitting for any length of time inactive, well, then all of a sudden you'll notice that your time goes up probably by a quarter. Yeah. So if you had an hour's worth of time before, you got an extra 15 minutes roughly. And it does improve if you're using it constantly, but still, it's not that good. If you sit there on several tractors on one farm and you're going through it, before you get to, if you go out to a farm and you have half a dozen tractors to go through for basics, diagnostics, and such to give a report to the owner about it, by the time you get through that 4th, 5th, or 6th tractor, you're going to be plugging this thing in. It does not have the electrical storage for that. It just doesn't. Now your phone, the little Nexic Blue Mini thing on the app and the Bluetooth, yeah, it burns up some of the energy, but it's not even close. Yeah, if you can get a tractor that Nexic Blue Mini will read, yeah, knock yourself out. That's the one to have. I'm not sure how well it'll work on Deere because I haven't done it on Deere tractors, but I can tell you, if you use the Nexic Blue Mini because it has the green collar, the updated diagnostic system, communication system, and you put it on the old gray plug, on the Case New Holland stuff, it will not read. All right, I've wasted your time, okay? And I'll probably have to redo this later. You guys have a good day. I've got it all out. Catch you later.